Thank you for joining, everyone. I can see most of you are here. I'm Victoria Johnston. I work for Fraser Jones, and I'll be facilitating the session today. Speaking to you are two subject matter experts in their niche areas, Kate Temple-Brown, who's co-founder of the Opportunity Group, and James Adeleke, the Chief Executive of Generation Success. Please be aware we are recording the session so that we can follow up and send it to you afterwards. But how we are running this today is that Kate is going to talk you through the Career Builder programme, and James will also give you some insight to the social impact of the programme. So Kate, without further ado, could you explain to us what the differences are between this Career Builder programme and the traditional school leaver apprenticeship programmes that we know about?
Yes, so thank you, Victoria. Hello, everybody. Yes, we're quite excited about the differentiation of Career Builder to standard school leaver programmes. So in my time, I've set up school leaver programmes for organisations that I've been working in and also been a consultant for. And what we found is that the framing of a school leaver programme is typically very much within the strategy of creating talent and career pathways for young people in the organisation, which is great in principle, but often is a barrier to starting to hire a different population than organisations have ever hired before. So what we have done with this Career Builder programme, in light of this extreme market forces that we're living in at the moment, is we've taken all the pain and the barriers away, we believe. So we've created a fully managed service programme for just over 1 year that is still able to be considered to be an apprenticeship. So it is fully funded and will be following a standard, but it really will have the opportunity creation that we believe that young people need right now. So in the high level detail, we will be following what we believe will be a needed technical skill for the future of work, something like software developer, intelligence analyst, financial services administrator, or digital marketer, all skills that we believe organisations need. And then also wrapping around the programme, additional mentoring, pastoral care. We will recruit, select, engage with the young people for the organisation. And then at the end of the programme, if you are unable to find a long-term position in your organisation, you can still be part of this programme knowing that you have given really valuable skills, because what we'll do is at the end of the programme, we'll also look after this population and ensure that we are helping them to find their next stage of job.
And that's a fantastic answer, Kate. And what I'd love to add is, I guess our role in really adding value to the process is the fact that as an organisation, Generation Success is an award-winning social enterprise that works with diverse talent. And more needs to be done around outreach for diverse groups in all phases of recruitment, not just an apprenticeship, but grads, entry, all throughout employees' life cycle. And the fact that we've partnered on this project means that we can actually reach out to a more diverse talent pool for the Career Builder. And also as an organisation, we provide mentoring and coaching and make sure that actually any candidates who apply for the programme who don't get onto the programme are continually supported through Generation Success ecosystem of support. And it's really important during this pivotal time where the economy is going through a troubling period, where young people have the worst job prospects since the Great Depression, that we need to make sure that no one is left behind. And this is what I love about the Career Builder and the partnership that we're building here today.
James, and I'll ask Kate the same question. Could you explain, though, we're past the halfway point in the year.
Yeah.
We're already into July. Why do this now? Why now? Why not wait until we've sort of given it more consideration and run these school leavers through apprenticeships in 2021?
Yes, so I absolutely had to eat humble pie when I started this idea of a program, because I've been banging the drum for 6 years about how school leavers are often the forgotten population, that people hire grads in a really timely fashion. You're going on campus 1 year before you hire them, and how people are losing the best population of young people by looking at school leavers so late in the day, because often organisations use the same team to hire school leavers as they do to grads. So they sort of wait for the grads to be over and then start looking around for school leavers. So I had to eat my own words when, in this moment of extreme change, I really believe that now is the time to make a difference to a whole population of young people who are changing their destinies literally at this moment in time. They will have typically been doing their A-levels with presumptions of travel, being able to get a job in a bar or a hotel in order to earn money to travel, have maybe put off their university for a year, are now no longer in a financial position where their families thought that they could go to university, but now they can't. The university they've even got a place at is now virtual. Do they want to pay £9,500 to have a virtual experience, when the whole point of going to university is to go away to university in this country? So I think, unfortunately, I was wrong this year. And the fact is, everything being thrown up in the air. And now is the time to make a difference to whole families, not even just to the young people that we are going to be sharing these opportunities with, but they will literally, and I know James has got much more detail than I have on this place, but we will be changing their families' futures by giving them this stability of a year's salary at £18,000 and a qualification and technical skills to help them have a career in the future.
Definitely, that was a fantastic answer, Kate. And and adding to that, I guess I'll start with a motive, which is, if your child is about to leave school, would you want him to wait a year to get a job? And that's a question that every single person watching this needs to ask themselves. When we say why now, it's also why not now. The stats are clear. The Association of College and Universities predicted that half of this year's university and college leavers, around 100,000 18 to 25-year-olds, would struggle to find meaningful employment as a result of COVID-19. Any spells of worklessness, any spells that leaves our young people feeling that they have no hope for the future, is something that we cannot tolerate as a society and as employers. We need to make sure that we do more. Even before COVID-19, stagnant social mobility cost the UK economy up to £140 billion each year. And that was predicted to be up to the year of 2050. So this is a fantastic opportunity for everyone to really look at ways that we can innovate, but innovate quickly, because there is no time better than the present. Because if we leave these young people unemployed for a period of a year, then they will not have any hope for the future. They will not be willing to apply for any more jobs come 2022 or 2021 or 2023. Whenever we decide to pull our socks up and do something about this, the time is now.
Yeah, that's so true, James. And there's another point about the digital skills gap, which is growing and was already extreme before COVID-19. And what a lot of organizations are hearing is that there will be huge amounts of applicants, huge amounts of people in this jobs market. But what we've actually found, when you drill down to the pure numbers of the 4 million unemployed by the end of the year, is that although about 250 people will be applying for each job, only 5% of those applicants will have the right skills for that job. And what we've done with these programs is we've front loaded the technical capability in bootcamp form, so that when you are hiring a young person to, for example, do the software developer level 4, by the time they hit your desk at Christmas, if they start in September, they will be a functioning software developer in your organization. What we're not saying is, please, can you give them opportunities to make coffee and shadow people? This is real work with real technical skills that we believe your organisations need to help you prepare for the future. So as you are looking at your restructuring plans and realising that you are preparing for the future of work, we know that organisations are doing more change in this 3-month period than they've done in the last 2 decades in terms of digital transformation. And that's huge. But what you actually need as an organisation is a whole pool of people with the digital capability to get you to where you need to get by 2025. And what we're saying is, this is almost 2 birds with 1 stone. This is doing the right thing by a huge population who have been completely blindsided by a global pandemic, but also helping you to prepare your organisation to have competitive advantage in the future.
Definitely. And when you look at that, there's £3 billion of unspent levy funding out there. That is a resource that each employer should be looking to use. Especially when you think about £400 million went back to the government last year. Not last year, I think it was in February, £400 million.
Yeah, that's in the first 3 months of this year. Yeah.
You know, and think about that. That's money you can utilize for a skilled workforce. And you know, apprentices are known to last to stay with employers a lot longer. Although we're saying this career builder program is for a year, there is potential for you to keep these apprentices
Absolutely.
for a lot longer. And another thing that is important to raise is often we think about apprentices as just school leavers, but actually they can also be university grads as long as the apprenticeship standard is different to their course. So you have, especially this year, a really skilled and capable workforce out there. And you know, why wait until next year or 2022 or 2023 to tap into that workforce when they are really hungry for an opportunity now?
And I think it's interesting that you speak about the unspent funds, James, because it's really more than money. And we totally appreciate that we are creating a big ask here. We know that there's organisations with unspent levy funds who are being super generous with sharing those unspent levy funds. But what we are really asking people and organisations to think about is creating opportunities. So there is enough money. We know there's enough money in the system, and we know that the government are going to be creating some sort of package tomorrow, which they'll launch tomorrow at the summer budget. And it will probably be that you can pay for your apprenticeship levy salary through your levy, or it will be that the government will give people who hire young apprentices some sort of amount of money to offset the salary. But I've been doing this and answering the exact same questions about the apprenticeship levy for 4 years, and it's never about the money. There are organisations with £13 million in a levy pot, unspent, who are not doing anything with it, and because it's not about the money. And so we know that what we need to do is support you and do all of the wrapper and take all of the pain away that we possibly can. The pastoral care, the recruitment, the engagement, the support at the end, and the destination after the programme, so that you can just think to yourself, in principle, I agreed with this anyway, but this is literally the most painless way that we could make a difference to these disaffected young people.
Yeah, and you know, sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to say, so Kate, ultimately what you're saying is, even if the money is an issue, you can leverage this through the levy that you're spending, whether you like it or not, that you're paying, so that the learner can access the training program with that. And then there may be more government help, which will be announced tomorrow, on how we're paying the salary, and some of that might be channeled via the levy as well. But the real issue for businesses is this is a painful project to really get off the ground. It seems like a lot of work. They don't really know where to start, but the Opportunity Group was saying, we will manage this entire service for you from start to finish and the aftercare.
Absolutely, and beyond. And I also think that the piece of the organisations going through that pain, typically when when you have an apprenticeship program, going back to your first question, as an organisation, you would have to create an engagement strategy, marketing, recruitment, screening, assessment. We've taken all that off as well. So in a normal program, that would be a commercial cost. But what we're saying is we believe in this so much that we are covering all of that cost with your levy spend. So whether you are a levy payer or not, there are enough levy transfer opportunities. If you believe in this as a non-levy paying organisation, you could also do this because we have the levy funding for you from other organisations who are not spending it. So really what we need from you is a will and the understanding that you can support a small group of young people in your organisation while they gain those skills, and we will do everything else.
So true, so true. And I was just going to say, the way Kate answered also reflects on our values of equal benefit and added value, and making sure that organisations work with, the work we do is painless for them, taking the workload off them so they can focus on the things that really impact their business, which is on the bottom line. And we run a similar program for a investment bank which has 80,000 employees across the world, and we run their 10-week placement program. And those young talent are the only route for a grad contract in the end of that. And they've now asked us to look at moving to Ireland because actually they found that having such a contract really benefits their business and their bottom line. So we have experience.
We've all heard the business case for diversity of thought, diversity of people in your organisation. We're not even going to go into that because we know everybody knows it. So what we hope to do today is answer practical questions about how we think we can support organisations to say yes. And the faster that we think organisations can say yes, the faster we can start helping the people.
I think I want to open things up for some Q&A, but first, Kate, and maybe James, you can give us some insight here as well. Could you just explain why we are potentially, or if we are, privatising a public sector problem? Will the government not sweep up these school leavers and deal with it?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And I, as you can imagine, when I'm talking to friends, people will say, oh, there's an apprenticeship guarantee now, so it's all sorted. But the issue is that Boris and the government can talk about an apprenticeship guarantee, and they can give incentives, and they can move dials, and they can use levers, particularly with public sector organisations. But the fact is they can't create the opportunities. What we need is organisations and employers to create the opportunities for the young people to attend. And so that's why it has to be a joint venture between public and private sector. So the government, I believe, will do everything they can. They've said they really want to give incentives. They too want to make it a no-brainer financially. But what we want to do is create a model that once the government have shared their support package, then hopefully organisations will think, right, now we're ready. We can do this apprenticeship in a box, for want of a better phrase, that we can help them make that opportunity guarantee a reality, rather than just presuming somebody else will be taking up that mantle.
And I totally agree with that. It has to be a joint initiative to create these opportunities for our young people. At the end of the day, every employer has asked themselves, and every individual has asked themselves, what is going to be our role when we look at 2020? What legacy do we want to leave behind? I am having a one-to-one meeting with the business secretary on Tuesday, where we're going to share with him the work we're doing with the Career Builder. But also I'm talking to the government about the letter we're asking every employer to sign to government, to ask them to do more around equality of opportunities. We're going to ask the government to back our equality pledge. And we're going to ask the government to do more. So yes, they've talked about a program support, but there's so much more that can be done, especially with any incentive that they give to employers. They also must make sure that employers are keeping equality at the top of mind, because a scheme like this is fantastic, but if it's only the usual crop of candidates you get at a grad scheme, it means that the ones who we are truly trying to move the dial for will be left behind. And what I love about this partnership is we have that engagement with those young, talented individuals that a lot of employers are missing out on. So more must be done. And I hope that the people watching this, and also the ones who are going to watch it going forward, will be thinking of ways and as to how they can get involved, and hopefully made it easy for you talking about this career builder.
Yeah, and I think to quote the public health report about the impact of COVID-19 on BAME population in this country, the core quote was that the global pandemic did not create the inequality in this country. It just shone a really bright shine light on the fact that we have got an unequal country, economically, physically, digitally, and from a health perspective. And so what we think this will do is really start to flatten the playing field. And we think that we want to support organisations in any way we can beyond money, because we think that it's great that the government will give money, but we think it's more complex than that.
We open this up to some questions now. Would anyone like to ask Kate or James any questions about the programme or impact on the youth, or any social impact? Fire away and I'll read them out.
So James, while we're waiting for questions to come through, do you want to talk briefly about your Careers Week that you're running this week? You can give a little shout out to that.
Oh yeah, thank you very much, Kate. So yeah, we have a 6-day City Careers Conference happening this week. We have about 80 speakers. We have over 150 people registered each day, and we're looking for more employers to get involved in the program. So we came up with this 16 days ago, when Black Lives Matter came more to the forefront, and the inequalities, racial inequalities, came out to the forefront. And we were asking ourselves, what will be our impact? What will be our role during this pivotal period in our society? And one of the ways was around the City Careers Conference, where asking every single employer, every single leader involved, to share where the company is right now, how they are moving to equality, and how they will individually and as an organization activate change going forward. So it's all about keeping the conversation going. And now we've got a year-long program engaging organizations on equality, both in terms of recruitment, internal teams, and a lot more.
So I think this is so key. And, you know, we didn't call ourselves the Opportunity Group by accident. It's really about young people understanding their opportunities as well. I think there's a perception that when we move into a time of high unemployment, that everybody is just grateful for a job and that they will just apply and stay in a role. And what we know for working with young people over this long period of time is that what we need to do is be really clear about our rules of engagement on both sides, both organisations and young people. So events that James is doing is really helpful to us, because it starts them thinking about their power over their career and their personal brand, which is also other pieces that we are going to be adding to the programme, as well as the technical pieces. So there are human skills as well in the programme, such as resilience, mental well-being, understanding their own accountability, so that we are really creating well-rounded young people that pop out the end of the programme that could either stay in your organisation or be very ready to add value to other organisations.
Questions that come through now, so I'll just read those out. Kate, you might want to answer this one from Max Camuzzi. Sorry if I've pronounced your surname wrong, Max. I'm interested to explore digital inclusion, if possible. This pandemic is making technical skills even more critical and in demand. Is there a blueprint of what the skills to focus on are? Is the digital revolution on a priority track?
To answer the last bit of the question first, yes, I think it is. But I think what is interesting about having the digital focus now is that we've learned so much about digital transformation over the last 5 years. So most research that we see says that 90% of organizations are doing some sort of digital transformation right now. And the learnings that organizations have had is that it's not just about tech. It's about bringing human skills and capabilities and influencing, as well as the capability to understand data. And so what we believe is the digital skills programs that we have created are creating the ability to succeed in a more technical environment, but also to have the human skills to be successful in collaboration and teamwork and influencing by using and storytelling through the data, for example, or by having the holistic oversight of being a software developer, but not having just the pure technical skill set of that, but also understanding about AI data. And what we will also do, which I should have said beforehand, is that all young people on the Generation 2020 program, whatever program they're on or whatever organization they're with, will still come together centrally. So they will have networking and they will have the ability to support each other. And what we found is the way that these young people work is they have a very community-based learning skill set. So even if you have somebody on the administrator track, most likely by the end, they will have elements of the digital skill set of their friends who are also in their network who are on the software developer track. So what we're really hoping to do is create these incredibly tangible skills for the future of work.
Both of you will have an answer for this, I'm sure, but James, I'd be interested to get your view on what, how is the learner population identified and engaged? That must be something you're doing with Generation Success on sort of capturing this population of young people.
Definitely. So I guess one of the things I should have talked about is what we've done in the past as well. So to date, we've created over 700 mentor relationships, and we've had over 5,000 people engage in our talks and events. So we are, as an established social enterprise, and named one of the top 100 social enterprises last year, we have access to community groups. We have access to colleges and different universities as well. So we have an already established database and network of young people, and we utilize that established network and leverage their networks to attract more young people to apply to our programs. As well as using our current networks, we also utilize social media as well to engage young people in a way that they are used to right now. They have their phones, they have their computers, and we make sure that we engage in them in the ways that they are currently used to.
And just to add to that, as well as the great relationships that James has already got with thousands of young people, we're also engaging, because this is what I haven't also made transparent. This is England-wide program. This is not just for organisations based in London and Greater London. We want to do this around the whole of England. And so we've also partnered with Youth Employment UK and also ERIC, which is more of a creative arts community of young people. And we're also leveraging technology. So we're using the Holaroo platform from an engagement tool, exactly to James's earlier point, that everyone who comes in and does a Naturally Talented Me profile, which is about their strengths, their skills, the hobbies that they do and things they like to spend their time, everybody will be able to do that. So that at the very minimal, a person will take that profile with better understanding of themselves. The idea is, in a perfect world, they'll carry on through the journey with us to understand the opportunities we've got, the tracks they can understand, and also the jobs and the organizations that we're working with. And as soon as we've started to get actual opportunities for these young people, we will open the floodgates on that engagement. And we think that we will have thousands, if not tens of thousands of young people coming to that. And brilliantly, that is James's area to screen and support and engage with those young people, because this is very much learner and young people led in terms of quality of experience for them as well, rather than just about the client and the organization. So we really do feel that we have two very distinct populations that we are making this better for.
Definitely. And oh, sorry, I was just going to say.
Well, you go, James, go.
Oh, I was just going to say on that candidate experience piece as well. This is where we feel we are unique in how we do things. because we make sure that we take care of every single candidate so that they know that they are being cared for. We make sure that we support them prior to each application stage, so that we do webinars, we do they have access to coaching, all to level the playing field, because there are some, especially for ones from lower socioeconomic backgrounds, they may not have had access to peer coaching from their parents about the world of work. So by creating webinars, by creating some toolkits for them, we hope to level the playing field, so that actually we can, when it comes to interview, we're interviewing them based on their talent, not just their knowledge.
Yeah.
And then and then once this is the reason why the program we run in the investment bank, the 10 people they chose for their first choice candidates, every single one of them said yes. Every single one of them said yes, which is kind of unheard of. And I'm sure Fraser Jones can talk about that. But in recruitment, not you will never get a time where 100% of candidates will say yes. And these guys said yes, even though they had offers from elsewhere, because they felt that actually we had helped to showcase the employer value proposition, the employer brand, but then also that we had supported them throughout. They felt that like they were not just a number on a tick box. They felt more, they felt human, which is so important, especially when we're dealing with young people who may never have gone through this experience before.
Yeah, that's really true.
And you touched on this a little bit, James, but and Kate, I know that there's virtual programs. So Stephanie Bishop has asked, if lockdown continues, can the program be successfully run virtually? And for those who come from disadvantaged backgrounds, they might not have access to the technology required. How will we overcome that?
Yes, so that will be a case-by-case basis. The short answer regarding virtual is yes. Currently, we deliver all of our apprenticeship programs virtually 100%, because who knows when people are going to go back into the office. And even if they are, we will potentially not be able to have a classroom full of people again for a very long time. So that piece is almost the easy piece, exactly to Stephanie's point. And the digital inconsistency and inequality, as we were talking about earlier, will be that we will work with each person, because we will know each person by the time they join a program, to understand their personal circumstances. So whether it will be that we will give them a laptop, or in fact, the other piece is that lots of these young people will not have enough space in their house to be able to do the at-home learning. And then what we'll do is we'll work with the very many open co-working spaces that are not being used to find spaces for them. So we are very cognizant of that. And this is, as we said, this is not a gesture. This is a very practical and tangible way of creating opportunities. So we will absolutely, during the process, create trust with the candidates so that we understand what their personal circumstances are individually, and we will address them. So that bit almost is more about having the trust of the candidates, so they can tell us what their issues are and making reasonable adjustments, as you would with any incoming young person into your organisation. But this will be with the added understanding of how they can be part of a programme that will be delivered virtually.
And that's a great answer. And I guess one of the things that I have to highlight is, as a social mobility organisation, everything we do has the young people, especially those from disenfranchised and disadvantaged backgrounds, at heart. As well as doing this program, we have a £150,000 contract with the Mayor's Fund to get unemployed Londoners 16 to 25 into the STEM industry. And we've had to deal with similar issues. In fact, we've had to, a lot of the young people that we're dealing with there are, ex-offenders. They are, they're young people who have not just technical barriers, they have social barriers. So, we will make sure that we do our best to ensure that those digital inequalities are bridged. And talk about digital inequalities, it does highlight the fact that COVID has done a terrible job. Well, COVID has highlighted inequalities in our society, but in terms of social mobility, for those poor young children at school right now who've had their classes taught online but don't have access to computer, we are going to have to work harder to try to bridge that social mobility gap now. And
We're not going to
and
fix that today, though, James. We're just
no,
going to
no,
fix the school leavers. We're not going to fix schools today.
no, not at all. But
That's
this
next
is,
week.
But
yeah,
you're
but this,
right. I mean, I think there's, once you start looking properly at inequality, there is so much of it, unfortunately.
definitely, and it highlights the reason why we need to act now with you as employers
Yeah.
to invest in this program.
Definitely.
We've talked a lot about digital, and you've just talked about STEM as well, James. But somebody's asked the question of what roles you're offering. So, what qualifications can a young person get through this training? And I guess a lot of that is going to be dictated by the businesses. Where are our shortages? We will have a digital skills gap, or actually we'll have sort of a general management skills gap. What is your training strategy? Is that how you would answer that question, Kate? Is it?
Yeah, I would flip the question and say, what are your roles that you are offering? We will reflect the roles that you need to be filled. We've started with fundamentals, which we know across industry are needed: software developer, intelligence analyst, administrator, roles that we know are good foundation skills. But we know also that digital marketer is an up and coming role that a lot of organizations are looking at hiring and creating programs for. But there may be something that is unique to your organization, but you know that you can justify creating 15 opportunities with that standard, and we will map the standard. There are 257 different subjects of apprenticeship standards, and we can either deliver it ourselves or find someone who can. So we are very happy to co-design those programs. If you can create the opportunities, we will work day and night to make sure that we can make that a managed service as well.
Okay, how bespoke can you be? Because somebody's, Stuart Seagal's asked, if an employer wants to build in training on skills like mentoring, can you build that into a program? How bespoke can they be for a particular business?
Yeah, what we will be doing is we are already over delivering on the apprenticeship standard in terms of the funding. So what we would do is, if an organisation was interested in having further conversations with us, we would say, this is what you will get to be completely apprenticeship levy funded. And then if there are additional pieces that you think would make the program very successful in your organisation, there may be a commercial top-up cost for that, or it may be something that we're already over-delivering on. So mentoring, we are already including in that program. So that's what we're also working with Generation Success for. And then also, we will also be wrapping the human skills, employability, resilience, mental wellness in that program, none of which are currently as knowledge, skills and behaviours in the standard, but we think they are fundamentally useful to be included. So I think bespoke is too strong a word, but tailored, definitely.
Oh, I was just going to add, it's important to remember that the apprenticeship was created because business said that young people coming out of school and university were not fit for purpose, but were not fit for purpose, but did not have the skills they were looking for to add value to their organizations. So apprenticeship is a real opportunity for organization, like Kate said, to make sure that we equip the young people entering your workforce with the skills that you want. And this is why it's so important that you engage with us and we can tailor make it for yourself. And it's also important to in the media yesterday, I think they said that the government were looking to abandon the 50% of young people going to university target, which also shows that actually this is a prime opportunity to engage with apprenticeship levy.
I think just talking about, because that's another of my little soapboxes, which again, we're not going to fix today, but it's worth giving some context to the 50% university rule, is that was created in 1999 by Tony Blair's government. And it was disproportionately putting pressure on young people to go to university or feel that they were failures. And so one of these changes that's happened in 2020, the year of change, is that there are a lot of young people who will feel less pressured to go to university, to do a degree that they are not sure why they are doing a degree, but they want to do a degree. And then also an interesting statistic is that when we started doing the software developer level 4 program, one of the things you have to do is map against educational experience of learners to show that they are allowed to be funded on an apprenticeship. And I think all the information an employer needs to know is that if you do a computer science degree for 3 years, you still do not have the knowledge, skills and behaviours that prevent you from being funded to do the software developer level 4. So that is a program of time and money and energy that this young person spent 3 years gaining, and you will actually learn more skills that are applicable on the day job in the 12-month program as an apprenticeship.
Look, I don't see any more questions coming through. I'll give it another minute. But is there anything either of you would like to sort of end on to summarise your thoughts on it?
Yes, well, alongside the last answer we gave around the reason why apprenticeship was created, I believe that we need to recognize that we want to make the UK the most competitive country in the world. And as we recover during COVID, alongside other countries, investing in apprenticeships allows us to do that by making sure that each employer has skilled young people going to work for them. And if they do decide to keep them on, that'll be fantastic. And if they don't decide to keep them on, it means that the economy can benefit from skilled, talented, motivated young people who are ready to add value to the world and the community around them.
Yeah, and this really resonated with me. So I would like to just say, I'm really proud to live in a country where the government have decided to give free school meals to young children over the summer holidays. But I'd really rather live in a country where we didn't need to do that.
Both. There are no more questions coming through. We have recorded the session. We'll send it to everybody who attended today, and we'll be running more like this. So just want to say, James, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure to have you talk about something that's close to all of our hearts now more than ever. And Kate, as always, you take all the complexity and pain away from the apprenticeship levy and everything to do with it. So thank you. And we will follow up. If you've got any other questions, you can get in touch with Kate, or I can put you in touch with Kate. But just keep those questions coming, even if it's offline.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, bye.